Hi lovely, welcome back to another episode of Supersonic Self-Love. I hope you got a lot out of last week's episode on appreciating your comfort zone and cultivating a safe space and a self-care toolkit, but also having the courage to embrace and leave your comfort zone and embrace change. I honestly took a bit of my own advice from last week's lesson. Honestly, this year has been pretty hard for me. It's pretty rough, and this past week I had a pretty low on Wednesday that made me kind of want to disappear. And on Thursday, I stayed inside my comfort zone and utilized my support network, my self-care toolkit to recharge and rest and feel better. And then that night, my friend Darian encouraged me to go to an event that I've been wanting to go to for years. It's Baltimore's version of Creative Mornings. It's something that has been on my to-do list and bucket list for so long, but I've always made excuses not to go. Like, I've mostly just said, I'm not a morning person, I can't do this, but I decided to step out of that limiting belief, out of my comfort zone, and to not say I'm going to try, but to say that I was going to do. I set my alarm, I woke up, I showered, put on makeup, and I got my ass there. The speech was on Muses, and it had a totally different spin than what I expected, and I really enjoyed it. The event is just amazing anyway. They exist in over 200 cities in the world, so you should check it out to see if there's a chapter near you that you could go to. It happens like every month, and it's all about just getting inspired and starting off your day on this great, positive, inspiring note with like-minded creatives in your area. But what was really cool was that as I went out of the house and lived, when I came home, I had a bunch of things waiting for me in my literal inbox. I had a new subscriber, I had a sponsorship opportunity, I had 2 people who wanted to interview me. I had literally created space for opportunity to present itself to me because I wasn't just sitting around waiting for things to happen. I was out enjoying my life, and the universe responded. So that's just like a little taste of how getting out of your comfort zone and embracing change can actually work, and how taking action from these videos, including myself needing to take these actions, is important and can actually create results within just the week that we're doing these. So before we jump into episode 6 about mindfulness, I have an announcement, and I think you're going to like it. So today I was prompted to think about my purpose, like really deeply, and how that purpose relates to helping others and what I want to do with others. And I realized that it's about creating space for other people to feel proud of themselves, to celebrate who they are, and to feel loved by themselves and others, in a nutshell. I have worked really hard to create free resources for people, be it in online blog posts or free e-courses or in-person events for this to happen. But one of the resources that I am most proud of is my membership group on Customary Babes. And I know I pitched this to you before, but it really is the gift that keeps on giving. And I understand now more than ever how money can be an obstacle that keeps us from doing things and gaining access to the resources that we truly need to help us grow. So here's what I want to do. I understand that some people can't afford the $8 a month or even the higher tier. So what I want to do is, starting today, as you're seeing this video, and through the entirety of October, you can join Uncustomary Babes membership group for a trial one-time fee of only $3. No matter when you join, whether it is September 29th or October 29th, your subscription will end on October 31st at midnight Pacific Coast time. Does that make sense? So the earlier you join, the more time you'll have access to the group and the resources. But starting November 1st, your trial ends. I will then send out an email to you reminding you that your trial is over. And if you would like at that point to subscribe to the regular basic or awesome tier, you can, and that starts at $8 a month. You can choose to do that or not. But in order to take advantage of this amazing offer, all you have to do is go to the link below, uncustomary.org/membership, and click on the link at the bottom of the page that says October one-time trial for $3. It's a one-time payment. It's not a subscription. It'll only bill you once. And then I will manually send you an email that's a welcome email with links to access the Facebook group, the Teachable Hub, and other things with passwords. I want to help you soar. I want you to love yourself and have the resources to keep growing. And I am confident that if you try out Uncustomary Babes with this one-time offer, that you will love it. And also, you'll love it even more if you do the work. So, worst case, you pay literally 10 cents a day for this entire month to have access to hundreds of resources. Okay, are you ready? Check out the sign up page below for a bunch of testimonials, all the FAQ, and let's do this. All right, moving on. Today, we are going to talk about the importance of practicing mindfulness. I'm going to give you some scientific facts about the effectiveness of mindfulness, the history and origin of it, different ways to practice mindfulness, resources available to you for making it accessible in your daily life, the benefits it can have for you, and the importance of continuing to show up for mindfulness over and over again. I've also got some free resources for you, so stick around. Okay, before we get started, let me draw our weekly affirmation. It is from the Practice You Daily Awakening deck by Elena Brower. And the card says, let me see this. What can you release to connect to the source of your power? This is how I welcome life force into my body. And I think that's really poignant for what we are going to be talking about today in terms of mindfulness. Mindfulness is definitely something that's about surrendering, releasing, and welcoming joy and source into your body and mind, whatever that means for you. And this will become more apparent as I talk. So I don't know if you've seen the show The Mind Explained on Netflix, but there are some really great episodes on different topics. They're only like 20 minutes long, and one of them is on mindfulness. I highly recommend watching it, but I'm going to be sharing some of the highlights from that show as a reference because they really share some important science that I think is helpful for people who might be skeptical of mindfulness and how woo-y and new agey it can be. So let's start off with, what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is simply the act of becoming more conscious and aware of something, be it in our body, our surroundings, or our thoughts, and also doing so without judgment. Remind you of self-love? Mindfulness can take many different forms, and there are so many different activities you can do to practice mindfulness. I'm going to give you a bunch of ideas at the end, including a list of 50 ways to live in the moment that you can use for inspiration. But the main thing I'm going to focus on today is meditation. Now, I know when people hear meditation, they can groan the same way that when they hear puns. First of all, meditation and puns are both amazing. Get on my level. But here are the main things that I hear when people say they don't want to meditate. They say, I don't have time. I am too scatterbrained. It's boring. And it didn't work when I tried it. Okay, so let me debunk these main fears for you. 1, we prioritize what we want to prioritize. We have already had 2 different videos about micro movements and magical daily routines. So I don't need to drill into you the concept of how just a few minutes every day can make a huge difference over time. We already know that. I also don't need to tell you the importance of a repetitive ritual and how huge that is as a part of self-care. So let's just nip that one in the bud right now. Someone once said that if you have time to meditate, you should do so for an hour a day. And if you don't have time to meditate, you should do so for 2 minutes a day. Remember that anything helps. Now, if you are someone that finds it boring, there are many different types of meditation. It doesn't need to be you sitting in utter silence with your legs crossed on a hard floor with no music. It can be lying in bed, covered in soft blankets. There can be twinkly lights. You can listen to a guided meditation of someone with a really soothing voice that you really like. You can be listening to a drumming ceremony. You can be participating in a drum circle. You can create beautiful visuals like an altar that you can look at during. You can jazz up your ritual with a meditation pillow, a specific outfit, a totem, whatever you want. It can be a group meditation that you attend in person. It can simply just be breathing. It can be that simple. Meditation is a personal practice that is unique for every individual. And if you are bored, try something different. Remember, we just talked about mixing up your routine. Also, sometimes it's okay to be bored. Why do we have to not be constantly busy? We are always so damn busy with our technology and our screens and rating our productivity and our worth on how busy we are. And it's good to slow down and be bored for 5 damn minutes. So just try it. Okay, if you feel scatterbrained, you're not alone. There is not a single damn person on this earth that tried meditation for the first time and was immediately a Zen master with no thoughts in their brain at first. Like, not Buddha, not Gandhi, not Deepak Chopra. We have tens of thousands of thoughts that run through our head every single day as humans. The idea that they are just going to just simply disappear and our minds aren't going to wander during a focused meditation is ludicrous. It's just going to happen. The point of meditation is to focus on what's happening, to redirect your thoughts back to what's going on. Mantras can help with this. And it's also really important to not judge the fact that you're thinking about the past or the future. I'll get into that a little bit more, but just remember that it's okay to worry. It's a natural thing. And it's a practice. Speaking of the fact that this is a practice, if you have meditated once, twice, or 10 times, and you think it didn't work or fix you, you're probably right. Do you know how often meditation, quote, masters or, people that do this long term meditate? Every day for years. A ritual is called a practice for a reason. You know how people get to be masters at something? They put in their 10,000 hours. That's not meant to be intimidating. And you can see major results from meditation and mindfulness well before that quoted concept of 10,000 hours. It seems super daunting, but my point is, the idea is that spirituality and connecting to something higher is not a quick fix. We all want this Band-Aid solution, and that is not what this is. This is about showing up as often as you can, giving yourself the space for yourself to grow, and letting what happens happen. You might not see results for a while, and that's okay. Don't judge yourself or let that discourage you. That does not mean you are a bad meditator. It does not mean you are a failure. It means you are human. But if you give up, then you definitely won't see results. Mozart didn't play the piano 3 times and write his first symphony. Practice, practice, practice. Okay, now that I have debunked these main worries that keep people from meditating, let's talk about the science of it. All right. Now, I mentioned the show that I was talking about, The Mind Explained. There was this monk that they interviewed, and he was from India. He lived where Buddha practiced, and he started practicing mindfulness, did it for many, many years. And years into his practice, he was flown here to the US, to Wisconsin, and he had all these wires hooked up to his brain. They did an fMRI, and the study showed that even though this man was chronologically 44 years old, his brain was only 33 years old. Interesting. So the direct quote from the study, there's all different parts of the brain that light up when we're doing meditation, and I'm not going to get into all of that right now. You can watch it yourself. But they were talking about one of the parts of the brain that lights up, and it said that a direct quote was, "The study of mindfulness has such an extreme increase on that particular area of the brain that it befuddles science, and the likeliness can only be compared to having a seizure." Whoa. They also state that when a beginner starts meditating, the results aren't nearly as drastic for those of a master or a long-term meditator. Hence, the need to practice. All right. The early meditation can be traced back to Hinduism, about 500 BC. In the 1970s, a man named John Kabat-Zinn brought the concept of mindfulness over to Western culture. He said that he was super desperate to not be seen as a Buddhist or a pure New Agey because he thought that concept would make it lost on people and deter people from actually practicing it, and he really wanted people to practice it. Luckily, it became popular anyway. There's been a bunch of celebrities like the Dalai Lama and Deepak Chopra that have showed us the benefits of mindfulness on a, more popular scale. And these days, mindfulness is so incredibly popular, it's almost the point of like becoming a fad. In fact, 8,000 recent studies on meditation, they looked into it and found that only 47 of them were considered to be scientifically reliable in terms of how the results of mindfulness can help you in a physical or medical way. What these studies do show us in a reliable way is that mindfulness and meditation changes the way that we perceive the world and how we relate to what's around us. Remember that perception is 90% of happiness and only 10% circumstances. So that can be applied to mindfulness too. For example, long-term meditators can view pain as almost like a neutral stimulus, like being burned, even if it's extremely intense. This is because the place in our brain that senses fear, the amygdala, is deeply affected by meditation. We can't control what happens in our lives, just how we respond to it and sit with it. There are tons of types of meditation, like transcendental, dynamic, religious, whatever. And lots of times we think that the goal is to empty our minds. But actually there's this term, and I'm going to butcher this, satipatthana, which means to keep your attention inside, literally. And the concept is just pay attention. So remember when I talked about being scatterbrained? There's actually a term for that in the world of mindfulness, and it's called being monkey-minded. So we have these monkey minds that bounce back and forth, and it's really just when we're not focusing on being present here in this moment. It's when we're worried about the future or anxious about the past. And the point of mindfulness is to live in the present as much as we possibly can. And a great way to lure yourself back to the present is to focus on what's in front of you. One of my favorite ways to do this, or even when I'm feeling anxious, is to focus on my main 5 senses. I think there's more, but the main 5. And I can list them in my mind on paper or say them out loud, but I think about what I can hear, see, taste, touch, and smell. 5 of each, and I just list them. And just the act of focusing on the present moment in a sensory way brings me back into my body and mind and calms me down. It's worked so many times. Another great thing to do is to have a mantra. Literally today, during meditation, my mantras have been, I am here, I am divine truth, and I surrender. You're welcome to take any of these or to come up with your own. It might help you to have them written down on a sticky note on your computer, on your mood board, or to repetitively journal them over and over again. Here are 10 more ways that you can practice living in the moment that are not meditation. So mindfulness, that's not meditation. Don't check clocks. Put your phone away. Number 2, give yourself a mindfulness totem. So like an object, it can be a necklace, it can be something on your desk. And every time you see that physical thing, it reminds you to check in with yourself and ground yourself with what you're currently experiencing. Maybe do that sensory exercise. Number 3, lie under the stars. Number 4, walk outside barefoot. That's called earthing or grounding. Number 5, go to a fabric store and run your hands all over the different textiles and feel the difference of each one. Number 6, watch a sunrise or sunset. Number 7, beat on a drum or be part of a drum circle. Number 8, close your eyes and smell the inside of a bakery or yourself cooking in the kitchen. Number 9, watch LED lights rotate while doing nothing else. And number 10 is to stack or balance rocks. And of course, there's also meditation. There are so many guided meditations on YouTube and Spotify, and also in my Uncustomary Babes group that you can join for a free trial for just $3. So you have no excuse to not try meditation. There's also places like Headspace and Calm on apps on your phone that you can download. And honestly, the more time and space I make for meditation, the better I feel. Meditation cannot replace the importance of medication, but it is an alternative for some people, and it is definitely an amazing supplement, which is why so many schools and companies and prisons are making it a priority to teach on a regular basis. It's pretty fantastic. Okay, so let's talk about your homework for this week. 3 things. Number 1, you are supposed to do a meditation for at least 5 minutes. It can be guided. You can find it on YouTube, on Spotify, in my membership group. Number 2, check out the link below for a list of 50 ways to live in the moment and practice mindfulness in one other way, an additional way that's not meditation. It doesn't have to be from that list, but use that list to inspire you. And number 3, if you haven't already signed up for my free mindfulness e-course, now is a great time. You also can retake it and redo these lessons if you've already taken it many months ago. You can sign up with the link below, or if you're anxious to get all the lessons at once, you can buy it for just $3 in my classroom. The links for all of these resources are below. And that's it for this week. I'd love to hear how you ended up practicing mindfulness this week, and please report back or comment below with your plans on how you plan to practice mindfulness. And please don't forget about the amazing offer to join Uncustomary Babes for a 1-month trial for just $3 for the month of October 2019. Details are at uncustomary.org/membership, and honestly, if you like these free videos, just imagine what is waiting for you there. I cannot wait to send you your membership card in the mail. Thanks for joining me for another week of Supersonic Self-Love. I will see you next time. Have a great week.